Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we are here with Raul Villacis. Welcome, Raul. It is nice to see you again, and it is such a pleasure to be here live with you today.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to share some of the insights of how to take your viewers and your listeners to the next level.
So, for those of you who are tuning in, here today. We are with Raul, and feel free to join in and ask any questions that you might have. Say hello, let us know where you're from. Raul represents a unusual departure from our question-focused interviews. However, we thought as a motivational speaker, much of the wisdom that he can share is applicable to all disciplines in life, including the challenges that our question viewers face personally and professionally. So, Raul, what would you suggest an entrepreneur's biggest fear might be, besides the obvious fear of failure, when starting a new business venture and or an equestrian for that matter? And what advice or coping strategies would you offer when dealing with fear and anxiety?
So, Victoria, that's a great question because I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, we have that fear of failure, right? So I think that's a common fear of failure that we have. And we tell the story to ourselves that, I don't want to try because I don't want to fail. Or what if I fall down? What if I don't look good? But underneath that fear of failure, what you're really saying is that you're afraid of what people may think of you. Because if you think about what is failure? When you started walking, when you were a little baby and you started to walk, you fell down. And you didn't complain. You probably cried if you hurt yourself. But the drive and the desire to learn how to walk, it was a nature, it was an instinct almost. So instinctively you got up, instinctively you kind of hold down to things, and you kind of realize that your legs had to get stronger, and maybe you had to get a little bit more balance in your feet to take the second or third step. But you never say, you know what, I fail, I'm never gonna walk again in my life. I mean, nobody's ever said that. But as we grow up, the fear of failure really is masking the fear of what people may think of us. Because that's really what we're afraid of. What are people going to think of us? So when I started my business, I was afraid of failing. But the other side of being afraid of failure, what's going to drive you to overcome that fear? So when I thought about it, people are going to laugh at me. People may close the doors on me. People may judge me. But in the other side of that, what is it that drives me to overcome what other people may think of me, or what I think that people may think of me? And the reality is that businessmen or entrepreneurs or athletes, we have to create this mentality of not giving a shit. And I know it sounds rude. It sounds like, I don't want to have a not giving a shit mentality. Like, no, not giving a shit about what others think of you. Because here's the reality: nobody's gonna pay you bills. When I started realizing that nobody is coming to Raul and knocking on the door and said, here, Raul, here's $1 to pay your mortgage, or here's $1 to feed your kids. So if they're not going to do that for me, why should I give a shit about what other people think of me?
One of the things that you said is that if you want to create an impact, you can't worry about what other people think. And yet many people do worry about what other people think. So my question was, what advice do you have to those who do worry about what other people think? But I think
you have to start building what I call emotional fitness. So you have to building emotional fitness. I'm training my little girl. She's 11 years old, and she's very self-conscious about the way she looks. She's self-conscious about the way what people say, and it comes from our relationship. So I'm teaching her to be strong and not really care, not even what daddy thinks. Because here's the reality: if I'm teaching my little girl to be dependent on what daddy thinks, I'm already training her to take her certainty from somebody else. I want her to believe that she could be right inside her heart, no matter what other people think, including myself, including her parents, to really be true to her. So my mantra to her is what's true to you? What is your truth? So the moment that you start believing in your truth, you really stop giving a shit what other people think or what other people say, because you live in your truth. What's true to you? And go ahead and do that and act based on what's true to you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be right. What's true to you right now, maybe later on you're going to find out that you're going to have some pain, but at least that's your journey. At least that's what you have to go through.
That's right. Standing strong in your truth is very important. Another thing that you said that we absolutely love is you said you can never go to the next level unless you can appreciate the level that you're on. And some people find it difficult to focus in the now. So how do you get people to appreciate the level that they're in now and be in the here and now?
So that's one of the things that I talk to my clients about, and they all come to me because they want to go to the next level, right? They all want to go to the next level and they strive. And I always tell them, like, what can you appreciate about the level that you're in right now? What can you appreciate about where you are right now? What can you appreciate about your business, about your physical fitness and your family? Because unless you can appreciate the level that you are right now, like I'm a true believer that God is gonna only give you what you could handle, whether that's in pain or that's in blessings. But if you can't even pay attention to what He's giving you right now, how can you ask for more? And we have this mindset that more means better, that the next level means happiness. But if you can't be happy or find at least a little bit of happiness at the level that you're in, I mean, you're an athlete and if I can, because my little girl rides horses, if she cannot be thinking about jumping with the horses, if she can handle just riding the first steps. So being present means, being able to just look at what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're doing. Appreciate what you're doing. And once you appreciate and you are present to what you're doing, then you could raise your skill level. Then you could raise your awareness to see what you need to get better. Because the next level is just awareness. Can I be aware of what's happening right now in the now so I could create my future? A lot of us, we are living in the future thinking that once my future is better, then my present is going to be better. But that's wrong, because the reality is that your present can never be better than what it is right now unless you appreciate it. Appreciation is what brings everything to the next level.
Right. And it's sort of like anxiety is where you're thinking too much into the future. It's being worried about what if. Anxiety has all about to do with the future. And that's why I think personally, too, that what you're saying is so dead on, that you have to really, really live in the moment and in the now. So, Raul, I got a question for you. We understand that in 2008, you suffered a major business setback. Back to 2008. How have you might have approached and coped with the impending economic crisis differently?
So back in 2008, I lost millions of dollars. I pretty much almost lost my business. I found myself in a situation where I was over leveraged. I have way too many real estate projects, I have way too many investments, and I was wealthy on equity. I have millions of dollars in equity, and to the point that my accountant sent me a letter saying, Raul, you made it, man. At a young age, you could pretty much retire. You have all this real estate. How did you do it? And I realized at that moment that it was easy for me because everybody at that moment was making money. When everybody's winning in the table, it's very easy to get caught up in the game. So the skill comes with, can you make money when things are going down? Can you make money when shit hits the fan? And what I would do different, what I'm doing different now, is I am not thinking that the economy could last at this pace forever. Right now, we are in an upswing. Right now, real estate is at right now, we're probably at the same prices as back in 2005, 2006 at the peak. So what I didn't know then is that eventually things are going to come down, because again, I was just beginning my career. That was my first wave. That was my first high in the market. Now that I'm learning from the low, I thank God that I'm learning from that low point, and I was young enough at that age to learn that it didn't kill me. It broke me, but it didn't kill me. So what I'm doing now is I'm preparing myself, I'm protecting my assets, protecting myself, creating different sources of income and creating different opportunities. And what I believe is in proximity. Proximity is power. I just got on the phone with a guy right now. He has millions, over $100 million in real estate, and he's investing in different projects, but with the mindset that if things go south, he has an extra strategy that actually will make him more money if things go south. So it's just about strategy. You have to be around people who've lived it, people who've been through it, people who have that experience. Nobody could tell you, just like in horseback riding, you can't learn from somebody who's just starting. You have to learn from the experts. You have to learn from somebody who's fallen down from a horse a couple of times to tell you what not to do so you don't fall down.
Right. So what real life lessons did you learn going through that very difficult personal experience?
The number one lesson is relationships is everything. Like one of the biggest lessons that I got is how strong my relationship became with my wife. Because one thing is to have a great relationship with your family when you have the money, when you have the resources and things are going great. And when you start losing that certainty, you realize that my certainty doesn't come from my business. I realize that my certainty doesn't come from making money. My certainty doesn't come from really, knowing how to build a business. My certainty comes from that I am focusing on why I do what I do based on what my family values are. So those times really got my family closer. Like I became really close with my wife. I realized that I have a queen by my side, not just a partner. Because when I couldn't pay the bills, she was there holding the space for me, saying, hey, we could eat, rums and noodles right now, and we don't have to spend the money, and you could be late on these bills. And she didn't give me a lot of pressure. She gave me the space and the certainty to go hunt. She told me, like, I know you're gonna figure this out. I believe that you can figure this out. Go out there and figure this out. So she didn't say, oh, you should have done this. You should have known better. Like that's what I've learned. I learned that a woman could truly make or break the man when he's at his lowest or he's at his highest. So we forget sometimes how to invest in our relationships. I realized at that moment that I wasn't paying attention to my relationship as much as I was paying attention to my business. But my relationship is what saved my business at the end.
That's wonderful advice, Raul. Your website offers what I think is very valuable advice in teaching children the value of work and money and giving back. And in the sporting world, we often find that parents push their children so hard with both the actual sport and supplemental training that the kids are often burnt out by their early mid teens and walk away from the sport. What advice do you have to those children?
I'm going to tell you what I tell my son. I want you to become the best. And I'm going to push you to become the best. I'm not going to let you play small. But the moment that this is not fun for you, you got to let me know. Because the last thing I want is to put my agenda or put my priorities ahead of you feeling that you're having fun, that you're being a kid, that you're expanding. I want this to become organic. My son is 12 years old. He has his own business. And ever since he was 5 years old, I invested my time with him, teaching him a little bit of the principles, taking him to my office every Friday, for an hour or two. As I write the checks, he was right there in my office, writing checks with me, coloring. And subconsciously, he was getting what it was like to live as an entrepreneur. So little by little, as you bring up your kids, or maybe your kids are older and you don't know how to insert that seed, you have to create the space and let him try. My son has been in karate, has been in basketball, all those things, but he never, I pushed him to do something, but I never pushed him to become what he's not. And as we find the niche of what he likes, it's always a integration between pushing him and pulling him. I believe that I create a pull, that he wants to be with me. He wants to be an entrepreneur. He wants to create something, but I'm not pushing him to do his videos. I'm not pushing him. I'm letting him know that if you want to go to the next level, there's a lot of work to do. And I think a lot of parents, what we try to do is live our lives through our kids. And because we didn't do something, we want our kids to do it. And I get it. I'm an immigrant. And my parents pushed me to become better. But it had to be in my terms. It couldn't be in my parents' terms. I had to find the dream for me. It wasn't my parents' dream. So I think that as parents, we have to be very careful not to put our dreams towards our kids. Let them develop their own dreams and create that pool. Encourage them. Let them know that they're going to be great. But I tell my son all the time, like, you are great. Within these walls, in my house, you are the best son there is. You're the best kid there is. But once you go outside, realize this, nobody cares. Nobody cares what your dad is telling you. Like, the only thing that people care about is what kind of value you could bring to the market, what kind of value you could bring to the world. So I sandwich the confidence at home to the reality of the world. Because the last thing I want is my kid to think that he's the best kid in the world, and he goes outside and everybody's treating him like an average kid, and he has the self-doubt thinking that I lied to him. So I'm very real with him, saying outside in the world, it's a cruel world. Nobody cares that you're Raul's son. You have to prove yourself and bring value for them to know you as you.
Yes, and you instilled some amazing values in your son at a very young age, just teaching him that the importance of earning his money so that he can help people in his life. And he's certainly following in your footsteps and becoming a young entrepreneur himself. We've seen his videos. He's absolutely adorable. And he's so passionate about what he's doing. And, he even attends marketing conferences with you. And that's just absolutely amazing. Can you tell us what advice you would give to young kids who want to become entrepreneurs just like your son?
The game has changed, kids. The game has changed. You know, the ideas that we have, like even my business has changed. So I'm very careful to impose my rules of how to play the game of business to my son, because the game has drastically changed for kids. I mean, right now, look at the hottest game right now, which is Fortnite, I believe. And that kid is making probably $1 million a month playing games. So if I'm telling my kid, I don't want you to play games, you know, I want you to do homework, then I'm putting a belief in him that he cannot do what he, so I'm not saying for the kids to go play games and that's gonna make money. No, this kid loves what he does and he's passionate and he's good. That's where he can get paid and create a business based on what he's doing. My advice to kids is find out what you love and break the rules of business. Technology is the biggest amplifier right now of people doing what they love. As parents, I mean, you know, I'll tell you from the beginning, I saw my parents doing, as immigrants, they were doing the jobs that they need to do in order to survive. You don't have to do it now. Like if you're a kid here in this new economy, you don't have to do something just for money. You don't have to work just to pay the bills. We live in an economy right now that you could actually get paid for doing what you love. And that's the biggest challenge right now that we have as parents is how do we tell our kids, do what you love and don't settle for just having a profession or having a job or having a career. There's lawyers out there that are miserable being lawyers. There are doctors out there that are miserable being doctors. I'm coaching multiple lawyers and doctors right now to help them find that passion again and find that drive again so they can do something that they love. Don't get caught up on making money or making a living. Figure out how you're going to make a life.
Right. Now, a high degree of self-confidence plays a major role in most individuals' success stories, whether it be in business or sporting world. For those that don't have that innate self-confidence, how in your experience does one go best about achieving that?
So I teach a morning ritual to my clients, and it's a very intense ritual. And I believe that we are constantly programming our minds. I mean, there's over 7,000 thoughts that go through our head every single day. 80% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. 80% of those thoughts are yesterday's thoughts. So what reality is what we live in the past every single day. That's the reason that we're stressed out. What I teach my clients is find a way to reset those thoughts. Every single morning, as soon as you wake up, do a little meditation, you know, some programming in order for you to find little by little that emotional fitness, that muscle that's going to create you new reality, that creates that confidence. I truly believe that confidence is not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is certainty. What we're looking for is certainty. So how do we create that certainty? Is create a new set of beliefs. What do you have to believe in order for you to have that confidence? If you believe in something that's going to bring you confidence, and if you try it, it will bring you certainty. But certainty is not given just because you believe. Certainty is earned by trying what you believe in, and little by little, through trial and error, get that confidence to have that certainty that you know what to do. So when I was a kid, I used to be so afraid of speaking in public. I never used to raise my hand because I was afraid about my accent. I was afraid about how if I sounded in a wrong way. I never spoke in school. Until I graduated high school, I was a very quiet kid. But little by little, I started having that confidence by trying, by speaking in public. And it wasn't until 4 years ago that I started to put these events together that I started to get comfortable speaking, getting comfortable in putting seminars. Now, I run an 18-hour day seminar or workshop, and I don't have to think about what I'm going to say because I'm certain that what I'm going to deliver will help this man go to the next level. So confidence comes from knowing your stuff, right? From knowledge. Certainty comes from practicing that knowledge and creating the wisdom from it.
Exactly. It's the same thing with horses. I mean, a lot of times people are not as confident because they're lacking that knowledge that they need to understand better. And I found that the more I educated myself and the more I learned, the more my confidence was when riding my horse. So the other thing, Raul, today's entrepreneurs often gravitate towards online business supported by social media, and it's becoming a very crowded space. In your view, what are the biggest mistakes that you see young startups making as they try to build their brand?
Exactly that, to believe that is a crowded space. I don't believe that is a crowded space at all. I don't believe that, like look at social media. Everybody, like, this is the new TV. Look what we're doing right now. We're broadcasting live. in Facebook. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to watch it, but you have the power to have people, like, we're broadcasting live. There is not a oversaturated place because we have so many people out there in the world. So what I'll tell startups is, like, start documenting your growth. Start putting stuff on social media. Social media is the cheapest and most efficient way to build your brand. I've created a multi-million-dollar brand in the last 4 years focusing on social media. Meaning all my products were promoted to social media. All my content was promoted to social media. I started 4 years ago just putting some videos on Facebook. And two things happened. People started to pay attention to what I was doing. I started to build certainty. I started to get clear about my message. And then I started creating my foundation of my brand. But it's not a saturated place at all. If nothing else, we haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. So if you just if you just start putting your stuff on social media right now, just know that you're not late to the game. You're not late to the game. We're still discovering some of the algorithms that Facebook, that Instagram, that YouTube. I mean, they all understand that YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are three different platforms. They're not the same thing. So don't put the same content in one as the other. Do your homework. Do your homework. Instagram is different than Facebook. Facebook is different than YouTube. The mistake a lot of startups do at the beginning is that they try to blast out the entire thing. Like, they're lazy. They don't want to take their time to really custom their content based on where people are consuming their content.
Right. So speaking of your branding, how does your motivational program, The Edge, help facilitate results?
So the first thing is understanding that motivation is temporary. So my pitch to people is, like, I'm not a motivational speaker. There are a lot of motivational speakers, and it's great. I don't mind being categorized as a motivational speaker, but I'm more of a realist. I can give people what they don't have. So if you don't have motivation, you come to me, try to get motivation, I can help you. I'm trying to help those people that actually are already motivated and they're looking for what I call the edge. And the edge is something that you know whether you have that edge or not. I mean, to ride a horse, to be a professional athlete, you have to have that edge. Without that edge, you could not be in the top 1%. So what I tell people, I'm not here to teach you how to play the game. I'm here to help you become a better player. Because if I have to train you to play the game, I want to invest years of work for you to actually start getting to be a player. But if I could teach you how to become a better player and have that edge, then you're going to be miles, light years ahead from everyone else. So how do I bring results? If I just customize that edge for you, I help you find that code to be able to reverse engineer what you want based on based on your game, based on what you've done in the past, based on the edge that you had before. So I'm not teaching people how to get something they never had before. I'm helping them remember and reverse engineer so they could have that code.
So it's kind of like what you're saying is, you know what? You've already found your passion. You've already worked really hard. You're right at that edge. And now I'm going to help you kind of get over that edge and get you to go and to be where you need to be. Like you said, you're not there to put motivation inside of them or to help them find their passion. You're there when they're ready to start applying and start really reaching their full potential. That's
why it's called the next level. I'm here to bring them to the next level.
That's right. So as you know, we are in the midst of launching our Be Fit, Ride Strong program, and we really appreciate you being a part of this process. How, in your view, does being fit and healthy further support one's success regardless of their profession or their career paths?
So when I was building my real estate company, I was 21 years old, and I used to pride myself saying that I don't go to the gym. I'm not focusing on getting fit because once I'm a billionaire, then I'll have the time to take care of my body. So I used to laugh at my friends that used to go to the gym all the time, or my cousins who used to go to the gym. It's like, man, what are you doing at the gym, man? You have to close deals. What are you doing at the gym? You have to make money. Like, don't worry about your body. Worry about making money, because eventually, once you make enough money, then you'll have the time to take care of your body. That was my mindset at the beginning. Then I realized that I was doing it all wrong. Because I was overweight, I had no energy, I was drinking, I was, constantly drinking Red Bull, and I couldn't perform. I couldn't perform in my business. I was constantly tired, and I needed to find what would create that energy. And I realized that energy is everything. Like, money is energy. So if I could create first energy in my body, then would allow me to execute at a higher level in my business, so therefore I could make more money. If I could create more energy in my body, that will give me the opportunity to become present and to be more focused, to be with my wife and my kids, therefore gives me more fulfillment. If I could create more energy in my body, it would allow me to connect with the higher power and to take care of my body, to be the representative of what I believe God is, and that will give me more connection and more purpose. So I think your body and your energy and your fitness, that's the foundation of everything you do. You can always make more money. You cannot have another body. The body is the only body that you have.
So what do you think about the message that we're trying to convey through the Be Fit Ride Strong program, bringing more awareness to the importance of nutrition and fitness and mindset? Because, there's recreational riders, there's top Olympian riders, there's all type of riders on different levels that struggle with different aspects in the health and wellness industry. So maybe they don't eat proper nutrition, or maybe they're struggling with different anxieties. Maybe they're not as fit as they need to be. So we're here to say, look, we're going to help, whether you need to get in better shape, whether you need to eat better food. This is what we're doing with Be Fit Ride Strong. And we're just wondering what you think about the message we're trying to bring to the community.
I love it. I think we need it, because I think that not a lot of people are customizing this. I mean, you go into a niche market, and that is a beautiful thing. If somebody will tell me right now, Raul, I'm going to take you to the next level, and they were not at the level that I wanted to be, I couldn't relate. So what you're doing is you're relating and you're picking a niche market. How I was able to build my 7-figure coaching business is because I picked a niche market and I talked to them based on my experiences. I mean, right now you have a niche market and you understand their problem. You understand their frustration. You understand their needs. So therefore now you're bringing in what has helped you to be able to help them overcome that frustration, overcome that fatigue. And I think that the base foundation is, if you're not eating right, if you're not working out, I mean, there's no amount of motivation that's going to get you. There's no amount of knowledge you're going to have. Like, if you're not doing those two things, that's the foundation. That's the basics. Build from there. Build from there.
Absolutely. So would you say that we're kind of, on the edge?
I believe so.
We're looking forward to, obviously we are super excited to see you coming up this summer, and hopefully bringing your daughter, and to see you coming to Huxley Stable. So we're looking forward to that, but we're also looking forward to working with you in the future. Absolutely. And I just want to thank you so much, Raul, for your time today. We know how busy you are. But before we let you go, I also want to let our viewers know that if any of you have found this information valuable, please share the video, follow us on Instagram, hit us a like, a comment below. And Raul, how can anyone get a hold of you, and how can they get in touch with you if they need to?
They go to my social media platforms, hashtag Raul the Edge. Raul the Edge. That's my Instagram handle, Raul the Edge. Or go to my website, thenextlevelexperience.com. If you go to my Instagram, Raul the Edge, there is a link in my bio where you could sign up for my daily edge. What I'm creating is, I'm creating a daily kind of fire, you could say motivational rant, that every single day you'll get a message, a text. I do this for my clients. So I started doing this for the public, and the feedback has been amazing. I'm also creating, I'm also writing a book that's coming up this summer. It's called The King's Code, which is the guide for men to have God, money, and sex, which is, I believe that's the foundation of the kingdom.
Right. Absolutely. Well, congrats on that. And so there was a question that I wanted to ask before I let you go.
Okay.
So do you believe that motivation comes only from within, or can motivation be effectively taught? Even though you're dealing with clients that are already motivated, they're already where they need to be, do you feel that motivation comes from within, or is that something that they can be effectively taught, really?
So you can look at motivation as fire, right? So how do you build a fire? You have to have the components. You have to have the log, and you have to have friction, right? In order to build a fire, you have to have friction. You have to rub things together, whether it's rocks, whether it's wood, you have to have friction. And once you build that fire, and you call that fire the motivation, it's as easy as, the hardest thing is to start that fire. But once you start that fire, then you're depending on other people to feed that fire, or you could start feeding that fire from yourself. So motivation is very is something that I truly believe motivation is only temporary because you're depending on that fire. What I believe is having intention. Intention is when there is no fire, there's an intention burning, a desire inside of you that will become that fire. Intention is greater than motivation because if you have the right intention, you're gonna figure out how to make that fire. So the fire is the motivation, but the intention is the guy who's creating the fire. So if you have the right intention, you're gonna get a lock. Maybe you put some gasoline in there. Maybe you put some torches. So the how doesn't matter as long as you have the intention of trying to figure out where you're going. So it's three things that I tell people to look for. Don't worry about the how. Don't worry about how you're gonna start a fire. First, ask what you want. What do you wanna do? What you wanna do? You wanna start a fire? Why? So what you want and why do you want it? Why do you wanna start a fire? Why do you wanna get to the next level? Why do you wanna have the edge? And then the third is, what's the risk if you don't do it? The third right now, maybe you're not motivated, but if the doctor, right now, maybe you're not motivated to work out or eat healthy. But one phone call from a doctor that tells you that you only have 60 days to live unless you get your shit together, you get motivated real quick.
That's
you
right.
get motivated real quick. Same thing in business. Right now, maybe you're not motivated to go to the next level because you're comfortable. One phone call from the IRS saying that you have 60 days to pay some bills, you get motivated real quick to make some money.
Right.
So motivation is that fire. How you make that fire is determined by your intention and what you want, why you want it, and what is that risk.
Absolutely. Raul, it has been an absolute pleasure. And, we are so excited to see you in the summertime. And we look forward to meeting, hopefully, the rest of your family. I know your daughter may be coming with you in June, but hopefully the rest of your family too. That would be wonderful. And we just want to thank you again so much for your time here today with our Be Fit Ride Strong community.
Thank you, Victoria. What you're doing is an amazing movement, and I wish you much success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.